All right, let's jump right into this deep dive. Today, we're looking at AI and how it's kind of turning the world of trade finance and working capital upside down. If you're in business these days, and honestly, who isn't? This is something you really got to know about. So, we've got research articles, case studies, all sorts of stuff. We're going to dig in and see how AI is changing the game.
Yeah, definitely. Trade finance. That's the heart of global business, right? Letters of credit, financing those huge shipments that cross borders.
Hmm.
And then you've got working capital. That's the cash a business needs to keep things running. Pay suppliers, the day-to-day stuff. Both are super important. And AI is bringing some serious changes to both.
Okay, so we're talking real world stuff here, not just theory.
Right.
We've got actual examples.
Oh, yeah, tons.
Yeah.
For instance, HSBC. They're using AI to predict a company's cash flow, and not just a couple weeks out, but months in advance. This isn't just about crunching numbers. We're talking algorithms, machine learning that can see patterns that humans would totally miss. Imagine knowing about a cash crunch before it even happens.
That's a huge advantage. No more having to scramble for a loan at the last minute. So how does it actually work? What kind of data are we talking about?
They're looking at everything. Real-time transactions, historical trends, even things like market changes. The AI can connect all those dots and basically say, hey, based on all this, looks like you'll need some extra cash in, like, 6 months. It gives businesses a real strategic edge.
So AI predicting the future of your finances. That's one thing. But our sources also talk about AI tackling something else that I personally really don't like. Paperwork, mountains of it. Is AI really able to handle that too?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Trade finance is famous for paperwork or maybe infamous contracts, invoices, shipping documents. It's a nightmare.
Mm.
But NLP, that's natural language processing, is changing the game.
Yeah.
We're talking about AI that can read and actually understand these documents, pulling out the key information super fast.
Wait, so it's not just turning paper into digital files. The AI actually gets what it's reading.
Exactly. Take Standard Chartered Bank, for example. They've got an AI system that analyzes letters of credit, which are really complex and need careful review to make sure everything's legit. Their AI scans those documents, flags anything that looks off, and speeds up approvals like crazy.
Wow, think of all the time and money saved by avoiding delays and disputes. It's incredible how much faster and more efficient everything can be with AI doing all that heavy lifting.
And it goes beyond just speed, too. AI can optimize these financial processes in ways we never thought possible, like dynamic discounting, where AI figures out the absolute best time for businesses to pay their suppliers.
Okay, that sounds kind of tricky. How does AI know when to pay and when to hang on to the cash a bit longer?
It's all about striking that balance between getting the most out of your cash flow and keeping your suppliers happy. AI looks at market conditions, the supplier's financial health, even things like discounts for early payments. Unilever, for example, is using this to create custom payment terms for every supplier, so it's a win-win.
So it's not just about automation, it's about making smarter decisions, right? Which brings us to our next point. AI playing detective. Sniffing out hidden risks, I'm imagining, like a digital Sherlock Holmes going through every transaction.
That's a good one. AI is really good at analyzing tons of data and picking up on those subtle patterns that might point to a risk. And it's not just looking at the numbers. AI considers things like news articles, what people are saying on social media, even trends in the industry to get the whole picture.
So it's not just about crunching numbers, it's about understanding the story behind those numbers. Do you have any examples of how this whole risk detection thing actually works in practice?
BNP Paribas is a good example. They use AI to spot what they call weak signals of risk. These are things a human analyst might miss, like a customer suddenly changing their payment habits or some bad news about their industry. The AI puts it all together and alerts the bank about potential problems before they become big problems.
It's like having a sixth sense for risk. But AI is not all about avoiding problems. It's about making things easier too. We're talking about AI-powered platforms that make getting funding super simple. No more stacks of paperwork or waiting weeks for approval.
That's right. These platforms use AI to assess credit risk, analyze data, and even figure out interest rates in seconds. It's all automated. Finverity is a good example. They look at the risk of specific invoices and offer customized financing options to businesses. It's putting serious financial power in the hands of any business.
It's like leveling the playing field, which is awesome. But let's be real, the world of trade finance is full of regulations. Compliance can be a real headache. Please tell me AI is helping with that too.
Of course, AI is a total game changer when it comes to compliance. It can automatically screen transactions for all kinds of risks, KYC, sanctions, money laundering. It's like a digital watchdog that never sleeps.
So it's not just about saving time and money, it's about staying on the right side of the law.
Exactly. JP Morgan, for example, they have an AI system that checks trade finance transactions live, flagging anything that looks fishy. Could be a payment to a sanctioned entity, a deal involving a risky country, anything that needs a closer look. AI is helping banks stay ahead of the game when it comes to financial crime.
I bet it's a lot cheaper than hiring a whole team of compliance officers.
You're telling me. Studies show AI can cut those compliance costs by like 40%. That's huge. But there's one more thing we got to talk about, the ultimate power couple, AI and blockchain.
Okay, now we're talking cutting edge. What happens when you put those two together?
Think about it. Contracts that basically execute themselves when certain things happen, payments happening automatically, and every single step of the process is recorded on a ledger that can't be messed with. That's AI and blockchain working hand in hand.
Wow, that's a level of efficiency and security I never even imagined. Are there any real-world examples of this in action yet?
We trade. A bunch of European banks, they have a platform that uses both AI and blockchain to automate trade financing. AI figures out the risk and sets interest rates, while blockchain makes sure every transaction is secure, transparent, and can be traced back to the source.
It's like a glimpse into the future of trade finance, where everything is super streamlined and secure. But before we get too carried away thinking about the future, let's recap what we've learned so far. It's clear that AI is already changing this whole sector in some pretty amazing ways.
We've seen how it's predicting cash flow, taking care of processes, optimizing payments, reducing risks, making getting funding easier, ensuring compliance, and even teaming up with blockchain to create a totally revolutionary system.
And this is just the beginning. As AI keeps evolving, we can only imagine what groundbreaking applications will come next. But before we dive into the future, I want to leave you with something to think about. As AI gets more and more sophisticated, what new opportunities and challenges will it create for businesses, investors, and global trade as a whole?
That's a really great question. It really highlights how this isn't just about technology. It's about how that technology impacts our world.
So stay tuned for part 2, where we'll explore the potential impact of AI on the future of trade finance and working capital.
Welcome back to our deep dive into AI and how it's shaking up trade finance and working capital. We've seen how AI is already changing the game, but what's even more exciting is thinking about where this is all going.
Exactly. We're just scratching the surface here. As AI tech gets even better, we're going to see some big shifts in how businesses run, how they get funding, how they manage their money, the whole thing.
Okay, so let's put on our future thinking hats for a minute. What does the next chapter of this AI story look like? What kind of world are we moving toward?
One of the coolest areas to watch is what we call hyper-personalized financial services. Imagine AI systems that know your business inside and out, cash flow patterns, risk profile, your long-term goals, and then, based on all that, they create financial products and services that are perfect for you for your specific needs. So instead of a one-size-fits-all approach, it's like having a financial advisor who knows your business better than you do and is constantly working in the background to find the best solutions just for you.
That's it, exactly. And it goes beyond just the usual financing. We could see AI platforms offering things like dynamic insurance policies, customized supply chain management, even predictive analytics that help you anticipate market trends and make smarter decisions.
Wow, that's a lot to take in. It sounds like we're headed for a world where businesses have access to some really sophisticated tools and information, all thanks to AI. But I gotta ask, what about the human element in all of this? Are we all going to be replaced by robots?
That's a question that comes up a lot.
Yeah.
And honestly, yeah, AI is going to automate a lot of the tasks that humans do now, especially stuff like data entry, processing documents, and risk assessment.
So some jobs will inevitably change, maybe even disappear.
There are going to be changes, for sure. But it's not as simple as robots taking over AI will also create new jobs and opportunities, especially in areas that need human creativity, critical thinking, problem solving.
It's more of an evolution than an extinction event, right?
Exactly. We'll need people to design these AI systems, to implement them, to manage them, people who can look at the data, understand what it means, and make strategic decisions based on that.
So it's all about adapting. Those who are willing to learn new things throughout their careers and develop the skills that will be in high demand in this new world, those are the people who are going to thrive. Now let's switch gears a bit and talk about how AI could impact global trade. We've already talked about how it can streamline trade finance, but what about the bigger picture?
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. AI could totally revolutionize global trade. Think about reducing friction, increasing efficiency and boosting transparency on a scale we've never seen before.
When you say friction, are you talking about things like trade barriers and all that bureaucracy that slows everything down?
Exactly. That stuff can be a major roadblock. But AI can help get around those barriers by automating customs procedures, making cross-border payments easier, even helping businesses from different countries communicate better.
So it's like smoothing out all the bumps in the road that have always made global trade so complicated and slow.
Exactly. Picture a world where goods just flow across borders, no delays, minimal paperwork. And with AI-powered translation tools, language barriers could become a thing of the past, opening up tons of new markets and allowing businesses all over the world to work together more easily.
That's a pretty amazing vision. It's like breaking down walls and letting businesses connect and trade more freely.
And let's not forget about how AI can make global trade more sustainable. That's a huge area with so much potential. Think about optimizing shipping routes, reducing waste, even tracking the environmental impact of products through their entire life cycle.
So it's not just about speed and efficiency, it's about making trade more responsible.
Exactly. And as more and more consumers start caring about the social and environmental impact of what they buy, businesses that use AI to become more sustainable, they're the ones who are going to have the edge.
Okay, so we've talked about all the amazing things AI can do for trade finance and global trade. But let's be real, there have to be some potential downsides, some challenges we need to think about.
Of course, no technology is perfect, and it's really important to be aware of the potential risks so we can get ahead of them.
So what are some things we should be cautious about?
One of the biggest concerns is data security. The more we rely on AI systems that handle sensitive financial info, the more we need to make sure those systems are secure and protected from cyber attacks.
Data breaches are happening all the time, and they're getting more and more sophisticated. The stakes are super high when we're talking about financial data.
No doubt about it. We need strong security measures, and we got to be constantly updating those defenses to stay one step ahead of the hackers. This is going to take a serious commitment from both businesses and governments.
It's a constant battle with the bad guys, right? Okay, so data security is huge. What else should we be thinking about?
Another thing to consider is how financial institutions are going to fit into this AI-powered world. Banks have always been the ones in control of finance, but AI is making it possible for new players to enter the market.
You mean like fintech companies and other non-traditional lenders?
Exactly. These companies are often a lot quicker and more innovative than traditional banks, and they're using AI to offer a wider range of financial products and services. This creates more competition, which is good for businesses because it gives them more options, and maybe even better rates.
And it's shaking things up in the financial world. It's not just about AI itself, it's about how AI is changing the whole system.
You got it.
Yeah.
And we're also seeing these collaborative platforms popping up, where banks and fintech companies are actually working together, combining the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily about one replacing the other, it's more about finding ways to complement each other.
So it's about finding the right partnerships and creating a financial system that's more efficient, more inclusive, and more responsive to the needs of businesses in this new digital age.
Exactly. And another really important aspect is how AI is going to change the skills and knowledge that people need to succeed in trade finance and working capital. As AI takes over those routine tasks, people in this sector will need to focus on developing higher-level skills.
So things like critical thinking, problem solving, strategic decision making, the stuff that's hard to automate.
That's it. These skills are going to be essential for figuring out what the AI systems are telling us, identifying risks and opportunities, and making smart decisions based on all that. It's not enough to just understand the tech. You got to know how to use it effectively to actually help your business.
So it's about working with AI, not being replaced by it.
Exactly. And we're also going to see a growing need for people with expertise in data science, AI implementation, cybersecurity, that kind of stuff.
Sounds like lifelong learning is more important than ever in this rapidly evolving world.
Absolutely. People in this industry need to stay ahead of the curve, keep updating their skills and knowledge if they want to thrive in this AI-driven world.
Now let's zoom out for a minute and think about the bigger societal implications of this AI revolution. There's a lot at stake here, right?
Definitely. It's not just about business. It's about how AI is shaping our world, our lives. One of the biggest questions we face is how to make sure the benefits of AI are shared fairly.
So it's about making sure everyone benefits from these advancements, not just a select few.
Exactly. We have to be really mindful of things like job displacement and economic inequality. We need to create opportunities for people to retrain and learn new skills so that everyone has a chance to participate in this new economy.
These are complex issues, and they need well-thought-out solutions and a real commitment to creating a more just and equitable society.
I agree. We need open conversations between policymakers, industry leaders, and the public to create a system that encourages responsible and ethical AI development.
It's about using this powerful technology to build a better future for everyone, not just a privileged few.
Well said. The AI revolution is here. It's our responsibility to shape it in a way that benefits all of humanity.
So let's bring it back to our listeners. What are some key takeaways they should keep in mind as they navigate this rapidly changing world?
First of all, embrace the power of AI, how it can change things. Don't be afraid of it. It's not a threat. It's a chance to make your business better, more efficient, and help it grow.
Don't be afraid to experiment with new AI tools and platforms. See what's out there and what works best for you and your business.
Second, make learning a priority. Stay up to date on what's happening with AI and invest in developing the skills that are going to be in demand.
Stay curious, stay flexible, and never stop learning.
Third, be an advocate for responsible AI. Get involved in discussions about the ethics of AI and support efforts to make sure it's developed fairly, transparently, and with accountability.
Let's use our voices and our actions to make sure AI is used for good.
And finally, always remember that AI is a tool. It's up to us to use it the right way to create a better future for everyone.
Those are great points. This has been a really fascinating look at the AI revolution in trade finance and working capital. But before we wrap things up, I want to leave our listeners with one last thought. The future isn't something that just happens to us, it's something we build. Let's approach the possibilities of AI with optimism, with a sense of responsibility, and with a real commitment to creating a better world.
I love that. Let's make it happen.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've been exploring how AI is totally changing the landscape of trade finance and working capital, and it's pretty clear this tech is a total game changer.
Yeah, the progress we've already seen is amazing. And really, we're just getting started. The potential of AI in this area is huge, like really huge.
No doubt. But before we finish up, I want to shift gears a little and focus on what our listeners can actually do to get ready for this AI-driven future. We've talked big picture, but what about some practical steps people can take, like, right now?
That's a great idea. You know what they say, knowledge is power. The more we understand about AI, the better we can navigate this whole changing world. So let's lay out some practical advice for anyone who wants to stay ahead of the curve.
Perfect. So tip number one, and this might seem obvious, stay informed.
Exactly. It's so important to keep up with the latest AI developments. Luckily, there's tons of info out there, online, books, industry events. Make it a habit to read articles, listen to podcasts like this one, obviously, and go to webinars. That way you can keep your finger on the pulse of the AI world.
Great advice. Tip number two, and I think this is where some people get tripped up, don't be afraid to experiment.
You're so right. A lot of people hesitate to jump into AI because it seems complicated or even a bit scary. But honestly, there are so many user-friendly AI tools and platforms out there now. Just dip your toes in, try some different things out, see what works for you and your business. You might be surprised how easy and affordable it is to get started.
I like that. It's all about being open to new things, having a growth mindset. And finally, tip number three, and this one feels especially crucial in the world of AI, connect with others.
Absolutely. Join online groups, go to conferences, reach out to experts, share what you're learning, learn from others, build a network of people who are just as excited about AI as you are. You wouldn't believe how much you can learn from each other.
Those are some awesome tips. And as we wrap up this deep dive, I think it's important to remember that this whole AI thing is a journey, not a destination. We're all figuring it out as we go.
So true. It's a pretty exciting time to be a part of this. Just stay curious, stay engaged, and be optimistic about the future. That's what matters.
Who knows what amazing innovations are just around the corner? Maybe AI will even help us solve some of the world's biggest problems.
Wouldn't that be something? A future worth working towards, that's for sure.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been great having you here, and thanks for all your insights.
The pleasure was all mine. It's been great exploring this with you and all our listeners.
And to everyone listening out there, remember, the future is what we make it. Let's use AI the right way and build a world that's better for everyone, more prosperous, more just, more sustainable. That's the goal.